So what is the scent of a fresh Walmart?
I don't know. It's never been seen or smelled before.
Well, you can't see a smell.
It doesn't last long.
I hope you don't see a smell.
Oh, wow. Well, you could see a smell in China, right?
I mean, the best smelling Walmart probably has a smell of cleanser. That means it's disinfected. That's the only thing you could hope for at a Walmart.
Oh, that's a hospital smell.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad. It smells sanitized. Sanitized
Sometimes
good.
hospitals smell like pee.
Oh.
I mean, that's kind of... here's the thing. When I think about Walmart, I think of jogging suits usually. So people who
That's what you're thinking about?
Yeah, I do. There are people who go 2 a.m. jogging at Walmart or Super Walmart.
When you
I'm thinking sociopaths if they shop at that time.
True, and jogging suits.
Jogging suits.
They don't shop, dude. They're jogging.
They're jogging in the store.
Exercising.
You guys haven't heard of that? You guys haven't heard of people jogging in Walmarts?
No.
No, that's a lie. There's no way.
Dude, I know it's happened.
Our Walmart in Kansas City, they are not jogging. I don't think they have ever jogged. They're sitting in the rolly carts, rolling down the aisles.
So Becky and I are part of multiple Facebook podcasting groups. And one person in that group, actually, guys, remember that show I mentioned to you? There's a show similar to ours, or at least in terms of title, called Ryan and James.
Yeah.
Ryan and James Take on the World.
Yeah.
And I was just surprised that they have such a similar sounding name. Ours is kind of dreadful because we're dead.
Do
they
sound anything like us?
No, I mean, they kind of debate things from what I understand. I mean, I haven't listened to enough episodes to really get a good feel for it, but that it's different from ours. Not like.
Can we borrow their Ryan?
No, he offered.
He offered.
You know why? Because actually, let me tell you. So Ryan Reagan, Other Ryan is how I refer to him.
Yeah.
I call him Other Ryan. So Other Ryan posted how you're gonna love this. This is a very Ryan and Noosh type thing. He said, "Hey guys, how do you?" I don't know the details. But he said something like, "Hey guys, how do you deal with or facilitate a co-host who's no longer available?" And I was like, I can tell you everything about it.
We are experts on that.
I've lost more co-hosts than people I've ever had.
Get ready.
So, welcome to another episode of Ryan and Noosh 64. I'm one of your hosts. Listen, I am scraping the bottom of the barrel for some of these.
You're gonna have to explain that one.
I saw your list. You had some good ones in
there. I know,
there.
I do, but I'm going down the list so I don't confuse myself. So that's what I'm on right now.
Well, yeah, you could cross something off after you've used it or put a check mark.
I need a pen for that. I'll work on that. Later.
Ooh, a pen.
I'd
say make a note to get a pen, but I think you need a pen for that. Ever happen.
So I'm one of the hosts, Danushka Kumar Singha. Today we also have JB Ong, Courtney Rajan, Ken Tran. There's a lot of people on the show now.
Yeah.
Brendan
We're
Kidney.
expanding.
Yeah, Brendan Kidney. And our guest for today is Becky Lassiter. So before we start, really quick, let me just tell you what we would be in this next scenario. So guys, if we were characters on Parks and Recreation,
okay,
here's who we would be.
Did you take my challenge into consideration
I did.
from last week?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Begrudgingly. You don't know how hard I really wanted to just make you the smart person. So Ryan would be Donna Meagle because he's witty, just like Donna. Courtney, you'd basically be, if this was Parks and Recreation, you'd be Ann Perkins because she's the nicest person. Also, she goes along with other people's crazy schemes. Like she kind of just goes with it.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's you.
Yeah.
Brendan, you would be Andy Dwyer because he is the most likely to bust down a door.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Ken, you would be Ben Wyatt because you're an accountant, but also you're a hero.
Oh, you're a hero.
And I have a new show on Fox.
Nice.
That's right.
JB, I said that you would be Leslie Knope because you're ambitious, you got a vision, you're a doer.
And Amy Poehler's awesome.
And Amy Poehler's awesome. I mean, I think it's really obvious who I would be for anybody who watched the show, right?
I haven't watched the show.
Dude, I cater to people who can't even appreciate these references sometimes. I would be Tom Haverford, right? Aziz Ansari.
Oh, okay.
I would totally be Aziz.
But are you just doing it as a cultural thing?
No, because okay, listen.
He is Aziz. You kind of sounded like Aziz.
Listen, my whole life since I was younger, it's always been this thing where, and I think this might be the case for a lot of like South Asians, you know, Indians, Sri Lankans, whatever. But like whenever there's like a really charismatic or funny Indian dude or South Asian dude on television or in entertainment, they're always like, dude, you remind me of that famous guy. When I was younger, people always told me I reminded them of Kal Penn. Later, it was Aziz Ansari. After that, it was the kid who played Kevin Napor in Mean Girls. People always told me I was like, "You're the mathletes guy. You're the mathletes guy." And
because you guys match in skin color.
Right. And then now, I'm not joking. Multiple people, my professors at this school, 3 other people, including a relative, have all told me like, "Dude, you remind me so much of Hassan Minaj." Like everybody telling me I'm Hassan Minaj now.
Wow.
So I'm just whatever funny brown guy is on television. So that's why, Aziz Ansari. I'd be Tom Haverford. Now, Becky, I don't have this. Listen, this is the first time I don't have one for our guest because of the fact that Becky is not. She's outside of our social circle, so I don't know Becky well enough.
You're a stranger.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Becky,
too many.
Have you ever watched Parks and Recreation?
No, I haven't. I've heard so much about it, but I have never seen it.
Well, it's a funny show, but yeah, I mean, I would have asked you like, oh, who do you think you'd be? I don't know. Nobody knows, but maybe we'll figure that out one day. In any case, well, Becky, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am a photographer in Kansas City, Missouri, and I am also a new podcaster with Kelly is my co-host, and she is also a photographer in my area, and our dating life has been miserable, and so we decided to start a podcast called Midlife Dating Crisis.
Nice.
And we talk about the crazy nuances of dating in our 30s and 40s and the crazy people we've come across and the situations we've put ourselves in. And we have guests on the show that talk about, similar situations and then give us some roundabout ideas that we are not, crazy in our experiences, because sometimes it can seem crazy. So yeah. I'm excited to be on this show, though, because it's a break from that crazy reality.
Well, I have a question for you, Becky. So, I mean, what was the circumstances where you guys were together and you thought to yourself, let's make a podcast? Like, for example, I remember, JB, another friend of ours, Tim, and Ryan, we were just having, like, drinks and, like, dinner one night, and we just thought, hey, we should, all these conversations we're having, we should make a show about it. Mm-hmm. Was it the same thing for you guys when you came to the conclusion you want to do a podcast?
It was so random. We were doing a styled photo shoot with somebody, and beforehand, Kelly had come over because she's also a makeup artist, and she mentioned something about dating, and I told her that I got on Bumble, and it was weird to see, swiping left and right. That's just so strange to me. I absolutely hate it. And Bumble. She laughed at me for getting on Bumble, but before the end of the day, she also got on the damn website, signed up. And the next time we met, she mentioned having a date. And our first dates, I think, were pretty crazy. And so I said, we have to talk about this. This seems like we are alone in our, the fact that guys are sending dick pics really soon.
Oh, there's always.
They are expecting relationships like the first time they meet you.
Right.
And so we decided, why not just talk about it and make sure that maybe we are crazy, and then we'll be able to go, okay, we're crazy. We don't need it. We won't stress out about this, or we're not crazy, and the other people will feel validated.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like, here's the thing. I know you're not like a professional, but because you are somebody who talks about dating and stuff like that. Okay, Courtney, tell me what you think. I kind of want to tell her the dick pic etiquette thing.
I
kind of want to know what Becky thinks.
No.
Okay, I have a question for you, Becky. Basically, because I agree with you. I think it's really messed up when guys send dick pics, right? So I always say this one thing where I'm like, listen, there has to be dick pic etiquette. Like, there has to be like a protocol of when it's appropriate. So
don't send one.
Unless
wanted.
Yeah.
She has to.
So basically, here's like what as a guy, this is what I would think is like, okay, this is kind of the vibe to like send something. Basically, my rule of thumb is this. Basically, if a girl sends you a nude photo of the like upper area,
yes,
you compliment her and you thank her for the photo. That's it. If she didn't ask for a dick pic, you
No,
do
a
not
picture
of
send
her one.
anything. However, if she then sends like another photo as if like she wants more, like I don't know, if there is more photos coming and it's time to send something, then perhaps see if you can send a dick pic. However, if she sends a nude of the lower area, then respond to the dick pic. That is the dick
So
pic
if she
etiquette.
sends her feet,
Whoa! Oh God!
Ooh, got you there.
Wow. I like that.
Very
that's-
good. Very.
You're being
be more
Very.
descriptive here, Noosh. This is very confusing. I mean, are we
That's
talking
true.
ankles? How old
That's
school
true.
are you?
That's true. I was being figurative in my usage of lower area. I
Her
guess.
nether regions.
Whatever. Anyway, that's what basically the rule is. Don't send unless asked, or you're getting sent photos as well.
But
No, I
remember,
think
we were
it's funny.
talking in a conversation, Brendan, that it's different because the women are the ones talking about the dicks, so it's okay to send it to another woman.
Right.
No.
That's messed up.
Mm.
It's for your eyes only.
It's okay.
It's for your eyes only.
That's too funny.
No, that is exactly true. You send it to a girl, then 20 of her girlfriends
but-
know about your
But
penis.
listen, you know what though? I mean, but it's true though. Whenever you send nudes to anybody, it kind of is. Even though you're saying, "Listen, for your eyes only," you kind of know at some point
They're gonna show it to
they're
other
gonna show it to
people.
They're
other
gonna show it to
people.
everybody,
I
so.
mean, it's a given.
This is
so
the
I-
age of sharing, of
Yeah,
social media.
it's all
Everything
about
is going to be
sharing.
shared because they want to get those likes.
No, I'm pretty sure
God,
you can't put a penis
I
on
hope
Facebook.
you don't put it on some.
Please
place
don't put it on
that's
Facebook.
I know. No.
Oh man,
I've seen guys keep folders of different girls' naked pics, so they can just go through and scroll where they have folders of girls
That's-
sending the craziest,
This
nastiest
is why.
stuff.
no.
Folder, but I don't even
Nobody
have
saw
enough
that.
work.
Nobody
listen.
saw what I did.
Okay, fine. I won't even
Wow.
comment on it. I was going to, but I'm not. But listen.
It was a
I
very
just-
fun time in college,
I wa-
and
I
that
wanna-
that hard drive is burnt.
I want to say this. I think it's one of those things where, you know how when you're like younger, when you're like in middle school, all the kids are like, "Oh yeah, I heard Joey masturbates, blah blah blah, Joey."
Yeah.
But deep down, every single kid who's accusing Joey of masturbating is like, "Yeah, I do too at home." But I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say it. I think that when you say, I know some guys have folders of the
Yeah.
pics that women send them. I think some should really be increased to like 90-something percent.
Probably,
Because
yeah.
it is
yeah.
very unlikely for a guy to delete a photo like it is so impossibly difficult to click that button. I don't even know how to, you know.
Hey, I deleted pictures I had. Of course, I had to give the phone to my goddaughter because hers broke, and I had to make sure that there wasn't any of that stuff on there. But it still counts.
Well,
I
you know.
deleted it.
And then you saved it on a
Where do you back it
flash
up, man?
drive
Yeah, you
somewhere.
backed it up to the
We backed it up
cloud.
to the cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, it all goes up
Dude.
to the cloud.
Dude, the dating, I mean, this is why I guess a show like Midlife Dating Crisis makes sense, because the dating age is so weird now.
It's insane.
So weird. Us here probably has some couple of pretty good catastrophes, right, with dating.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially
Courtney,
you.
you have any?
No,
I have.
I actually have to go out on dates to have catastrophes.
Oh.
Can somebody on this podcast get this girl a date?
Oh.
Get on Bumble.
Listeners, come on.
I've got a good one. I mean, I've got the. I think everyone's seen me rant about this at one point or another.
What?
Because remember the story of my ex-girlfriend stole my cat.
Oh.
Listen, man,
Jesus.
no, but I kind of want to hear it.
No, it's really simple. She wanted to see if her son could handle having a cat in the house, and so I said, "Well, why don't you take mine for a week, see how that works?"
Yeah. How did that
And
work
then I
out?
never got my
No.
cat back.
Oh
I guess
no.
it worked out.
Dude, man, she took your cat and she ghosted you.
She did. She moved, and she didn't
Yeah.
tell me where she
Oh
moved
my
to or
gosh.
That's
anything.
messed
Like, it
up.
was-
That is
Yeah.
messed up.
How do you pass off your cat? You're just gonna let your cat. Your
Dude,
cat
well,
go
listen,
to a
we
different
we
home?
know from the stories we've told, there are people who like send their mooses over to other people's houses. So I mean, you know, people love to pass their pets along. But I got negged once where like some girl was trying to like hook up with me or something.
Yeah.
But she said like really kind of like mean things to me a little bit. like she basically was just like, yeah, we could hook up, but like yeah, I have to be really, really drunk because I don't know if it'll be that great and blah blah blah. And she said all
my
this shit.
God.
And dude, I remember I was just like, shit, like I feel
I've-
really self-conscious now. And then afterwards she's like, you wanna go inside and like have a quickie or something? And I was just like,
Romantic.
I was like, nah, man, like I just kind of ignored the question. I was
Man,
like,
you could hurt
"Nah."
a guy's feelings like
I mean-
that. Man. That's terrible.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, probably like a couple days later, I was like, dude, I'm an idiot. Why did I, why did I turn that down? But at the same time, at the moment, I was like, oh man, I feel really bad and self-conscious.
Something bad really happened with mine. Every time I break up with a girl, like she just takes my stuff and never returns it. One was like
So stop giving your stuff away.
my PS2.
Oh wow,
That was in college. I lost my
big thing.
PS2.
Oh God, I thought you said penis too. I was like, what?
PlayStation
Did-
2.
She took his penis.
No, I
She
like
took
the
his
thought
penis.
that she took your penis. That's great.
She took my penis and my pride.
Ken brought up penises. It was not me. It was not me.
He broke the penis barrier this episode.
My penis.
Well, in relation to, Becky being a photographer, after all, the topic for today's episode is photography.
Yes.
So I will lead off with this story. This story is bananas, and that's a pun because the title of this story is When a Monkey Takes a Selfie.
Oh my God.
Oh, this story.
By the way, it's called When a Monkey Takes a Selfie because of that book. When you give a mouse a cookie, it wants a glass of milk. It's kind of like that. It escalates in the same manner.
When you give a mouse a cookie, he becomes a whiny bitch and wants everything in the house.
So this is a story that spans 6 years, from 2011 to 2017. Basically is this story that just starts with a monkey and a selfie, and it just escalates like crazy and questions the very nature of what a person is. So here's the story. There's a photo shoot, right? David Slater is a 52-year-old British wildlife photographer from South Wales. He's won numerous awards, and he earns his living entirely on photography. This is like a highly acclaimed wildlife photographer.
Yeah.
In 2011, David Slater traveled to Sulawesi Island in Indonesia. The island has a wild population of critically endangered Celebes crested macaque monkeys that are being researched. Okay, his goal was to take photos of the monkeys and basically to highlight that they're critically endangered, bring notice to their
Get some cute pictures so people can be like,
issue.
oh.
Right. So Slater followed a troop of macaque monkeys for 3 days to gain their trust. The macaque are naturally very friendly and fond of company. Slater said, quote, "I became accepted as part of the troop. They touched me and groomed me." But the monkeys were too shy to let him actually photograph their faces. So on the second day of a 3-day shoot, Slater sets up his camera and tripod with a remote trigger accessible to the macaque. He figures that the animals would be curious about the device if he was not holding it. So, as he predicted, the animals approached the device and looked into the lens and started taking pictures using the remote trigger. They were very excited and frenzied over the sound of the camera shutters and the reflection. Slater said, quote, "I put my camera on a tripod with a very wide-angle lens, settings configured such as predictive autofocus, motor wind, even a flash gun to give me a chance of a facial close-up if they were to approach again for a play. I duly moved away and bingo, they moved in, fingering the toy, pressing the buttons, and fingering the lens. I was then to witness one of the funniest things ever as they grinned, grimaced, and bared their teeth at themselves in the reflection of the large glassy lens."
Probably goes along with the whole thing of, animals and their reflections. They always think it's another animal.
Right. Yeah, hence they're baring their teeth.
Yeah.
So many of these photos were unusable because, of course, they're animals just taking random-ass photos, right? But 3 of the photos were taken by a 6-year-old female macaque, and they were not only usable, but they straight up looked like selfie-style photos. I'll describe them to you, and we can put them on the site later, but one of them is like her actually holding the camera away from her, like it's like a phone selfie, and she's not smiling. She looks very serious, like in the photo. And the other one is of like her face, and she's just like really smiling brightly into the camera.
She's setting up her Bumble profile.
She's got her duck lips.
So the third one was basically a photo that the one of the macaque took of Slater and another macaque. So it took a photo of another monkey, basically. So Slater licensed those 3 photos to the Cater's news agency and sold them under the title of Monkey's Selfie. Slater earned around 2,000 UK pounds in the first year for these photos, and he assumed he could sell these photos because they were his photos.
Yeah.
Of course he could. Next, the photos go viral. In July 2011, the Telegraph newspaper in the UK published a story about Slater's unique photo. In the article, the writer misheadlined the story and claimed that the monkey stole the camera and shot those selfies on its own. So basically, people kind of assumed that, oh wow, this monkey stole the camera and took its own selfies, which, Slater set up the camera and they took the photos, but it wasn't exactly like that. But that misassumption, made that story go viral because people just loved the idea of the monkeys stealing a camera and taking selfies. In August 2011, Mike Masnick, a writer for the online blog TechDirt, was alerted to this interesting story by one of his readers. The reader who notified him about the story was called Mr. Lemur Boy.
Nice.
Dude, the funny thing about a name like Mr. Lemur Boy is that he is a dude who loves to go online and read stories about monkeys. Like, that's his thing. With a name like that, that's what he's doing.
He wears like monkeys on his shirt. Oh God.
So Masnick wrote 2 detailed articles where he broke down the legal ramifications of the story. He questions Slater's ownership of the photos. He argued that Slater did not take the photos, so he does not own them. But also, a monkey is not a legal person, so it cannot own intellectual property. So the monkey who took the photo also does not own the photo, which means the photos are technically in the public domain.
Okay.
So that's Masnick's argument. So Slater directly responds online to Masnick. He says he engineered the situation that led to the monkey selfie. His quote is, "It was my artistry and idea to leave them to play with the camera, and it was all in my eyesight. I knew the monkeys were very likely to do this, and I predicted it. I knew there was a chance of a photo being taken. It required a lot of knowledge on my behalf, a lot of perseverance, sweat, and anguish, and all of that stuff." All the online outlets posting the photos, they made digital copies available of those photos without referencing Slater's name or even paying him royalties to use those photos. And doing that hurt Slater financially because it lowers the commercial value of the photos.
Yeah.
He also argues that this type of an issue, of a copyright issue about who owns these photos, must be settled in a court of law. People like Masnick and TechDirt and all these online blogs posting his photo, questioning his ownership of it, they shouldn't do that because they're basically making an assumption without knowing for sure. Following the TechDirt article, other outlets followed up on the story, including like BuzzFeed and a couple others. They all used the monkey selfie image without permission, and they all received cease and desist notices from the Cater's news agency.
Yeah.
So some of them removed the image and others kept the image up. By the way, as a result of all these online outlets posting all these photos and everything, and posting these articles about the photos and questioning the ownership, there's a lot of really funny article titles that came out as a result of it. So here's some of the funniest ones before I continue on. First, there's Monkey Business. Can a monkey license its copyrights to a news agency? Number 2, Monkey see, monkey do, monkey get copyright too?
Channeling a little bit of Dr. Seuss there.
Another one is Monkey see, monkey sue.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh, that's clever.
There's legal arguments at monkey selfie case are bananas. And then one of the articles that's one of my favorites is somebody at the New Yorker actually wrote a statement from the monkey.
Nice.
So it's entirely from the perspective of the monkey and their stance on the ownership issue of the photos.
Did you read it?
I did. It's written in third person where the monkey's basically saying like, Monkey was feeling very artistic that day and Monkey felt like expressing himself. Like, it basically is that.
I'm going to have to look that up later.
I'm just picturing Monkey from Dexter's Lab now writing out this thing.
Okay, so next part of this story. So Wikipedia gets involved. In January 2014, Wikimedia, the company that owns Wikipedia, they added the photos to its Wikimedia Commons, a website that stores content that is copyright free. They held basically the same argument as Masnick. Slater asked Wikimedia to remove the photos because it's losing him revenue. And this is basically from his perspective, and I kind of feel for the guy for this. I think we'll all feel for the guy by the end of this story. A lot of people forget that his work is his livelihood. He had to pay for that trip to Indonesia to take those photos. Due to Wikimedia's decision to basically take those photos and make them available to anybody, Slater lost around 10,000 UK pounds.
Yikes.
And Slater made very little money from those photos, despite how popular they were. And for him, the reason he's so aggressive about this whole issue is because for him, it's a fight for survival. It's
that's his work.
Right. Slater's quote is...
To me, it's like, if you have a security camera up and you happen to catch something good happening with that security camera, that picture's still yours.
Yeah, it's your equipment.
Yeah, it's your equipment.
Right? I mean,
so that's weird.
That's some of the... Well, there's actually like legal stuff, and I'll get to that.
But this just sounds like this. Was it the Mad... What's the guy's name? The Mad...
Masnick?
Masnick. Just sounds like he was bored. He's like, how can I fuck with somebody? What can I do?
He wasn't bored. Lemur Boy pointed it out to him, and he's like, all right, let's go to town on this guy. I mean, it really does seem like a lot of people are being mean to Slater, honestly. So Slater's quote is, "Photography is an expensive profession that's being encroached upon. They're taking our livelihoods away. For every 10,000 images I take, one makes money that keeps me going. And that was one of those images. It was like a year of work."
Yeah.
Some Wikimedia editors were split on what to do about the issue. Some, like Saffron Blaze, believed in waiting for a true legal decision. In fact, and in the transcript, it also shows that others, in this whole discussion between these editors about whether to keep the photos or not, some of the editors actually criticized the monkey's low resolution and poor angle. And it's just like,
wow.
And some people are just like, dude, it's a monkey. Like, what do you expect? In the end, they voted to keep the image in the Wikimedia Commons with a 10-9 vote. So it was very close, but they decided, no, we're going to keep these photos publicly available to anybody who wants them. Slater threatened...
It's crazy.
Right, it's really messed up. Slater threatened to sue Wikimedia and other outlets involved. And this became more difficult because around that same time frame, basically, the fall of 2014, the U.S. Copyright Office released an update to its policy manual. And an online blogger from Public Knowledge named Sherwin Tsai was the one who pointed out that there is an update to the Copyright Office's policy. And basically, it gave examples of non-human created content that is not protected by copyright. Literally, the first example was a photograph taken by a monkey. This whole thing by the U.S. Copyright Office basically was them throwing shade at Slater, because this is after the whole monkey debate was online for a long time. So they updated their own policy manual to be like, the monkey photo doesn't count. Like, you don't get to copyright that. So Wikimedia's decision basically created a blank check on using the photos without permission. So everybody started using these photos without asking for permission, or even actually giving credit to Slater for having engineered that photo. Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikimedia, even used monkey selfie, quote unquote, as the theme for the annual Wikimania conference in 2014, the big Wikipedia party.
Yeah.
And
That's just the slap in the face.
right, and many people, basically they had you know how when you go to a conference or a big event, they have a wall where you can take photos to show you're there. Instead of that kind of a wall, they had a big photo of the monkey selfie.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
And
What is
so-
their vendetta against this guy?
Right. Many people thought it was tactless that a millionaire and his massive corporation was gloating about trampling on an artist's right to his work.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say legally we can do this, blah blah, but to slap him in the face like that is almost cruel.
Exactly.
Well,
It's
Kenneth and I were actually talking about the copyright issue before in the car,
Yeah.
where basically any artist who uploads any of their material, whether it's photography, whether it's a digital illustration, they're pretty much screwed because anyone can hijack that.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is copyright laws are different in every country, and not every country is strictly enforcing them. Things in China.
Yeah.
That's the biggest kind of gripe with copyrights
Oh, yeah.
around the world. Someone in China could just copy your design. They do that with cars. They do that with cell phones. They do that with anything.
And there's no way to stop
There's
them.
no, because the thing is, the Chinese copyright aspect of their government would just say, "Oh, it doesn't look like it at all."
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah, you could make things look similar. So
that's why in the tech industry, if China copies any of our apps, we can't do anything.
yeah, you can't do anything. That's the really bad thing.
So
'cause-
in business-wise in tech, it's like you're racing against China's ability to create a product.
yeah.
Dude, straight up in Sri Lanka, when I was living there, my aunt has a nursery there. She's had it for 20-something years. Dude, the mascot's Mickey Mouse.
Oh, wow.
In Sri Lanka,
funny.
you can't enforce that copyright there, so
Yeah.
it's whatever.
One other thing that I've come across is in the photography groups that I'm in, there are actual photos of people's families and from the United States, people will travel the world and they'll be like, why is your family the family on the advertising for the clothing company or something like that?
Oh,
They'll
wow.
just be on billboards.
That's
Real
crazy.
families.
Wow.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, that would be creepy
Yeah.
to see yourself on a billboard suddenly.
Can you imagine going out of the country and then driving and being like, why is my daughter on the side of this building that has, what does that even say?
It's kind
You
of
know?
Waffle guy.
kind
That's
of
you.
like National Lampoon's European Vacation, where Chevy Chase, he's like filming his wife, and she's like getting all starting to undress and everything like that, and then the video gets stolen, and then as they're driving through Europe, there's a big billboard of her.
Right.
That's just making fun of it.
Well, so
Wow.
in terms of Wikimedia, right?
Yeah,
They're jerks.
that's the
Exactly.
consensus.
But Slater couldn't afford to take Wikimedia to court, so he wasn't even able to defend his right to his photos. He just did not have the money to be able to pay for litigation.
Yeah.
So the next part of this story is called Slater Does Go to Court.
Yay!
Yay.
As a defendant,
They're suing him.
Wait, they're suing him.
as a defendant, he's
What?
being sued.
Oh, wow.
So
Excuse me?
in September 2015, PETA filed a lawsuit against
Oh
Slater.
my God, give me a
God,
break.
Not those people.
I might as well just say it. I hate PETA. I hate PETA. I don't care what they say.
So PETA is suing Slater and this company called Blurb, which is a publishing company that produced Slater's photography book, which is called Wildlife Personalities.
Yeah.
And because Wildlife Personalities has the monkey selfie photos in it. That's his work,
Yeah.
right? So they're suing him because they claim that the monkey should own the photos and not Slater.
Give me
So
a
stupid.
break.
So PETA's lawyer, Jeff Kerr, states that the U.S. Copyright Act doesn't specifically define an author as a work of a human. And also, PETA got a primatologist named Antje Engelhardt from Germany who actually worked with the macaque monkeys in Indonesia. So she is somebody who watched those monkeys get raised. Like she studies them. So they got her to jump on the case. And basically what they said to her is, listen, Dr. Engelhardt, we can get funding for these monkeys if we can basically prove that
They
this
bribed
monkey owns this photo.
Yeah.
And so she's like, listen, I'll do whatever it takes to help these monkeys. Like her goal was noble. PETA was just like, let's get the monkey to own this selfie.
No good can come of this.
So they sued. PETA sued based on the quote next friends principle under the U.S. Constitution or in the litigation policy, and basically their goal was to grant the copyright to PETA because they're the next friend.
Give me
of
a break.
the monkey.
Oh my God.
Wow.
The next friend principle basically allows a person to sue in the name of another person who is unable to do so. For example, someone who's in a coma or handicapped.
But
in this
everyone
case,
already
a
keeps
monkey.
saying the monkey is not a person. So
Right.
they're
Monkey's not a person.
It's not a
Exactly.
person.
And since it was using his equipment, so he should be having that
Why
right.
don't they just sue National Geographic for all the photos that they take?
Maybe PETA's afraid to go after National Geographic. They can go after poor photographers,
Yeah.
but not
Like, go
a
after Nat
big-
Geo. Go
yeah.
after, what's the one on BBC? Planet Earth
Like-
and everything. Like,
BBC will stomp them, and I
Yeah.
hope they do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They'll send the doctor.
So the case was submitted to the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of California because that's where the publishing company was located. Listen, I'm going to say something really quick, and then we have to sidebar for a little bit because this is part of the moment where this got like really crazy to me. So I want to tell you the legal name of this case.
oh God.
Okay.
It might mean something to some of you, maybe not to others. I don't know. I cracked up at this. The legal name of this case is Naruto versus David Slater. Right? Yeah. Dude, it's called Naruto versus David Slater. Everybody who laughed is like,
Why?
yeah, I'll tell you. Also explain it. Basically, even in my notes, I wrote stop. We need to sidebar and talk about this. PETA and the researcher named this monkey Naruto, right?
Okay.
And for me, there's so many flags that went up. As soon as I read that, I was like, there's like 100 flags I have to talk about. First, for me, the elephant in the room, or the monkey.
The monkey in the
The
room.
monkey in the
Monkey in
photo. The monkey in the photo. Someone at PETA or the macaque research team is a weeaboo.
It's a
Straight
weeb.
up.
Damn it.
Straight up.
There's a weeb
They're a
somewhere.
weeaboo. The weeaboo somewhere on that team.
How could this happen?
So just for any listeners who might not know, so we explained it in one of our older episodes. A weeaboo is a anime fan who's like really annoying, really like obsessive, and kind of like really crazy about anime to like an antisocial
Basically the
degree.
anime version of PETA.
Yeah.
Right.
A weeaboo, that's perfect. A weeaboo is the anime version of PETA. That is perfect, Brendan.
Yep.
Yep. I agree with that.
Now Naruto makes a lot of sense.
Naruto makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. PETA's lawyers, because they named this monkey Naruto and they went and filed all the paperwork, PETA's lawyers were either weeaboos or they didn't know who Naruto was.
Yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't know also, so Naruto is the main character of a pretty much like one of the top 10 most popular animes of all time called Naruto. Top three. But there you go. Top three. Well,
Part of the big three.
it's part of the. We'll debate that later. It's not, it's when it comes to popularity. Yes, I'll whatever. The point is, it is like one of the most popular animes ever. It's about like this little ninja kid who lives in a village, and it's his adventures.
And it's also named after it's like a Japanese like fish paste.
Yeah, it's
Thing,
named.
yeah.
He got his name from a fish
Well,
paste.
they
Yeah.
need characters after food over there.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's named after Naruto Maki, which it has that swirl, and Naruto has that swirl on his cheek.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's in ramen and stuff. Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
Is that what that is?
Yep.
I always wondered what that little swirl thing was.
Naruto Maki.
Basically, my assumption is that one of those PETA interns with like one of those like Hidden Leaf Village headbands is like really happy with themselves because now there is actually U.S. legal court record with this whole Naruto versus
And
David
if
Slater
anyone is
case.
ever arguing another case, they'd be like, and they had to refer to this like in Naruto versus blah blah blah.
Exactly. And
Oh my god. I don't know the actual name for it, but I'm just thinking of all the pictures from that court case. Let that artist have been a weeb as well. Let it be drawn in manga
They do
style.
anime court sketches.
Funny.
Large anime eyes. I was like, yeah.
Exactly.
So does Monkey.
CNN, whenever they were talking about this story, they kept referring to the monkey as Naturo. So I immediately knew, like, okay, CNN does not watch anime. Like, nobody at CNN's watching
No,
anime.
they don't.
Sounds like a Godzilla monster. Like,
So, by the way, one thing to know also is that like Naruto's catchphrase in this show is "believe it." He's always just like when people say like you can't do it, or he says like I can do this thing, like whatever, I'll be the greatest, whatever, blah blah.
Yeah.
He's like believe it, like that's his catchphrase, believe it, dude. One of the comments on like one of these articles, somebody wrote, "Can a monkey sue for property rights? Believe it."
Oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad.
So flag
hurts so much. I love it.
Flag number 2. No one knows if Naruto is even the right monkey. So PETA went to Indonesia to identify the monkey in the photos, and they were like, okay,
They're
this
gonna serve
one,
him with a
this one's named Naruto. This is the monkey in the photos. However, Slater claims it was, and they claimed it was a male monkey. Slater claims it was a female monkey named Ella, and Slater's quote is, "Naruto is not in the picture. A female is in my photograph. Naruto is a fraudulent monkey."
It's a fictional monkey.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Naruto is a fraudulent monkey.
fraudulent monkey.
So, okay, no joke though, this whole wrong monkey thing started a monkey truth or conspiracy on Twitter. People on Twitter who are following this story were debating, like, it's the wrong monkey, it's an inside job, somebody's trying to hide the real monkey. There's a
my
whole
God.
truth or conspiracy. At one point, okay, so a reporter interviewed PETA lawyer Jeff Kerr, right?
Okay.
So he interviewed the lawyer about Naruto. And this is actually a transcript in that conversation for that interview. The reporter says, "So, how did he get the name Naruto?" And the lawyer says, "That I don't know." The reporter says, "I see." And then the attorney says, "For purposes of being able to identify the animals that they are studying in the wild, researchers will frequently provide names to them. They can tell one from the other." And the reporter says, "Yeah, I think that it's interesting, though, that his name is Naruto, which my assumption is it's a Japanese name." Like, he's, like, heavily trying to suggest. And then the lawyer, there's, like, a long silence, and the lawyer's like, "Okay." It's like, there's just, like, a long okay. And the reporter says, "So..."
This is like the most awkward interview ever.
And then the attorney says, That wasn't a question. I'm not sure how to respond to that. Like, this reporter is really trying to get this attorney to be like, yes, we named it after an anime character. So, okay, moving on. So, Slater's legal team described the lawsuit as ridiculous and asked for dismissal. Like, this is the opening statement that Slater's lawyer gave. He said, or she said, a monkey, an animal rights organization, and a primatologist walk into a federal court to sue for infringement of the monkey's claimed copyright.
This doesn't sound like a very good joke.
They started out as a terrible joke, but that's how they opened this case. Slater's lawyer says, also, the only pertinent fact in this case is that the plaintiff is a monkey suing for copyright infringement. Imagining a monkey as the copyright's author in a Title 17 of the United States Code is a farcical journey Dr. Seuss might have written.
Good point.
PETA's lawyer responds by saying, if successful, this will be the first time that an animal is declared the owner of property instead of being declared a piece of property himself.
Yep.
That's what
This
PETA's
is going
fighting
to
for.
challenge Nat Geo and BBC to its core.
Yeah.
I mean, and what does that mean for me and all the pictures I take of my dogs? Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
only if the dog
True.
takes a photo, then it's a problem.
oh my goodness.
My rabbit took a
crazy.
selfie. Does he own it?
Apparently, I mean, well, we have to see the outcome of the case, but
In January 2016, U.S. District Judge William Orrick ruled that Naruto cannot be the owner of the photos. Only Congress can decide if an animal can own intellectual property. After they lost the case, PETA promised to continue fighting for Naruto's rights. Here's a bizarre twist. Like, this story just gets weird. So in a bizarre twist, Ancha Engelhardt, right, the primatologist that PETA was using as the next of friend
Yeah.
for their case, they suddenly, or the lawyer, Jeff Kerr, had a falling out with her, and he stopped answering her phone calls and her emails. She messaged him that she's coming over to his house, and then he called the cops on her and got her arrested.
What the heck?
Listen, this whole there's very few details about what the circumstances were that made her and the lawyer have like
Yeah.
a falling out, and all of a sudden she goes to his house, texting him a lot. He
this
calls the
sounds
cops.
like they started an affair or something.
Listen, let me tell you one thing that I know is a fact. In the scientific community, the two professions that have the most likelihood to have like a weird love triangle or weird kind of like romantic like weird thing going on, it's astronauts and primatologists. Like, it is absolutely astronauts and primatologists. Think about it. Ancha was in the jungle for
Monkeys
like
are
ever.
romantic.
She was in the jungle forever. She finally got to go to, like, you know, California. She met this handsome lawyer. I mean, it just writes itself. Something weird happened with these two, and then he called the cops. He got scared and he called the cops.
She got too handsy.
She started grooming him. That's why she started doing that. She started like grooming him, and like, you know, he was uncomfortable with that. He's a lawyer. He's not a.
It's not a monkey.
Yeah. So she's off the case now. So despite having Naruto's actual friend arrested, PETA claims that they still qualify for the next friend principle in the lawsuit. Slater's lawyer, she's just like, how can PETA, having alleged no relationship with Naruto, be a suitable next friend for him when PETA's relationship with a primatologist who does allege lifelong relationship with him has soured to the point that PETA's general counsel had her arrested for criminal trespass and harassment?
That's a very good point.
They brought that up in court. Like,
Yeah.
how can
Wow.
you even continue
I'm
this
just surprised
case?
that all this has gone through and no judge has said or even written in their opinions, why the hell is this a case in front of me today?
Right, he could have just thrown it out.
Exactly.
So PETA takes Slater to court again. They
Of course.
basically appeal the decision. So in March 2016, PETA appealed the decision and brought it to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Oral arguments were held in July 2017. So that's this year. This all
Yeah.
happened. Both parties stated their case. The arguments eventually, during this whole oral argument portion, became so heated that they started to cite U.S. policy on same-sex marriage at one point.
What?
When
that makes sense.
But basically, the argument that PETA's lawyer was making was when stated that Naruto didn't qualify as a person, PETA's lawyer claimed that previously U.S. policy was that a spouse is a man and a woman, but not anymore. So he's basically saying, like, well, Naruto's not a person legally, but that could change.
What?
Oh my god.
Makes no sense.
I mean, they have to really pull on strings to make this thing.
Yes.
This is making me
happen.
hate PETA even more. So
The funny thing about this whole
It amazes me they didn't go back to slavery or something. Like, well, that was legal.
Right.
And now
dude,
it's not.
they did.
they did.
my
I didn't
God.
cite that here, but no, they did talk about
Oh
slavery.
my goodness.
And they brought
Oh,
up
yes.
how I don't remember the exact quote, but
Yeah.
they brought like slavery as a part of US legal code that's also
The other
changed.
question I have, aside from the judge not saying why am I listening to this, the lawyer that's actually defending this case or for PETA, they're like, did I really go to law school for this?
Dude.
Is this the pinnacle of my career?
No, they're PETA's lawyer on staff, dude. Like that firm that works for PETA,
Yeah.
they do cases all the time. And here's the thing. I think it's because PETA gives them steady work. Like they get
Yeah.
work.
No,
a lot,
I understand
high-profile
that,
work.
but I mean, this is a ridiculous case. So it's like,
Somebody
isn't
said-
there a more other
it's a
important
PETA
animal
case.
rights activist
No,
cases?
but the thing is, what I've seen about PETA is they only take work that has, I guess, news quality. They don't-
Controversy.
Yeah, controversy.
Yeah.
They want more exposure
They
for
shock-
PETA.
shock
So,
value.
Yeah,
so
they don't
this is
care
not
if they
shocking that
actually
they would take
win.
this
They
case.
just-
And
They
Jeff
wanna get
Kerr's
headlines.
Jeff Kerr's law firm isn't afraid to look stupid.
well, apparently,
Well,
apparently.
he succeeded.
Yeah. So some of the court record conversations,
what happened?
some of the court record conversations got really weird and abstract. So some of the conversation, Slater's lawyer at one point says, "It makes no sense to allow a monkey to enforce a copyright suit. But if you're going to do that, it's equally absurd to deny a monkey a written notice of right to intervene in a lawsuit. And then the judge in the case says, well, Naruto wouldn't need a written notice. Maybe the other macaque monkeys in Indonesia would."
Wow.
So they're having like a straight up like trying to debate the legal
Oh my
consequences of this.
God.
If it's not this monkey, it's another one.
Exactly.
And then the judge also says, in the world of Naruto, is there legitimacy and illegitimacy? Are Naruto's offspring children as defined by statute?
oh my god.
Well, I mean, his son is Boruto.
Yeah,
We might have to ask him.
It's
I-
not
you
in the
know,
world of
I was
Naruto.
really resisting
do-
going there.
dude,
and I'm glad someone else
I
grabbed.
wrote it so you would go there. Of course, in the world of Naruto, there's legitimacy.
There's only one thing.
He has a
for-
son named Boruto.
There's only one thing for them to do. The person that
daughter
made
as well.
Naruto have to buy the monkey, and now it's the mascot, so they own it. That'll be perfect. That'll fix everything.
Oh, yeah, you're actually
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's our mascot monkey. Now it's famous in Indonesia. We're selling books there now.
So,
The primate Hokage.
Yeah.
Primate Hokage. Okay, so in August 2017, both parties advised the court to hold off on ruling on the case because they're close to reaching a settlement. And in September 11th, 2017,
they went and bought the monkey.
a settlement was reached. Slater will donate 25% of all of his photo profits to charities that protect wildlife of macaque monkeys in Indonesia. In a joint statement, PETA and David Slater agree that this case raises important cutting-edge issues about expanding legal rights to non-human animals, a goal that they both support, and they will continue their respective work to achieve this goal. Both parties, however, requested a vacatur of the lower court decision that Naruto cannot own the copyright. Basically, that way it's not a part of court precedence, a part of common law, basically. They asked that the lower court's decision that a monkey cannot own the copyright be thrown out of the record. However, the request for vacatur was challenged because technically all parties must be present in order to reach that decision, and Naruto is not present, so it's not possible to vacate the lower court decision. So what is the aftermath of this whole ridiculous court battle?
They go to Indonesia.
This monkey's getting the red carpet treatment.
PETA promises to continue litigation to
Oh my
protect
gosh.
animal
Oh my
rights.
God.
Their lawyer, Jeff Kerr, said, "Legal history was made today because we argue to a federal court why Naruto should be the owner of the copyright rather than been seen as a piece of property himself. This case is also exposing the hypocrisy of those who exploit animals for their own gain."
And we also showed that we're idiots.
So, in July 2017, Slater stated that this case has completely ruined his life.
Well,
It
yeah.
ruined my life too right now.
Yeah.
He made 2,000 UK pounds from the photos, but spent much more on legal fees. He couldn't even afford to fly out to the US to be in court. People stopped paying for the photos after Wikimedia refused to accept his copyright claim. And at one point, Slater even desperately offered the photos to anyone willing to just pay the shipping and handling. And he'll still donate 25% to charity.
Aw,
He just wants to
that's
get
very-
something for the photos at this point.
So mean.
And Slater,
At that point, I want to pay for the shipping.
That's
and
what I'm
handling
saying, yeah, I
some
would-
monkey pictures.
I'll buy his picture. Let's
should have that.
let's post something on our
Yeah.
thing. Go support
Post a
this
link.
guy.
Yeah, wait. We'll post a link
It's
to
a
his
serious
website.
case of it's like a bullying a person
Yeah,
at this point.
is.
Because they have like endless funds to fight in court. This guy does not.
Right. Slater is actually
cosplay as Naruto, go to cons,
Dude,
and get people to
guys.
donate money for this entire thing.
How awesome would it be if at these like conventions and stuff like that, people start going dressed up as a monkey, but with like the Naruto like jumper and like the headband and everything, and basically nobody will get it, but some people will get it who listen to this show.
I like that. I like that.
Let's not talk about Harambe anymore. Let's talk about Naruto the
Dude.
monkey.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, dude.
Harambe's time is
Mike's
over.
out for Naruto, dude. Mike's out for Naruto. So.
Oh my god.
So, okay, Slater has actually said that he's considering quitting his career as a wildlife photographer
Wow.
to do whatever it takes just to make some money, including dog walking and tennis instructing.
Oh, man.
Like, he'll take whatever odd jobs he can get just to pay the bills, you know? He's quoted as saying, "This would be a new venture for me. It would pay peanuts, but at least it would be more than photography. I'm just not motivated to go out and take photos anymore.
Yeah, they crushed his spirit.
I've had outlays of several £1,000s for lawyers. It's losing me income and getting me so depressed. When I think about the whole situation, I really don't think it's worth it. Everything I did to try and highlight the plight of the monkeys has backfired on my private life. I've had my life ruined." And another quote he says is, "I sincerely wish my 5-year-old daughter to be able to be proud of her father and inherit my copyright so that she can make my work into an asset and inheritance and go to university. I have very little else to offer her." However,
Sad.
yeah, I mean that part broke my spirit a little bit because like he is just a starving artist, just trying to,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he's actually an acclaimed, award-winning artist, you know, photographer, and he's still very poor and not able to do much with any of his work.
I feel like now if you were to go back into doing wildlife photography, he has to like go up to the elephant and be like, "Look, man, I'm gonna take your picture, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Get him to
just so you
sign
know,
a waiver.
yeah, can you use your trunk and sign this waiver?"
Yeah. However, Slater is still happy he reached his goal of getting attention for the endangered macaque monkeys. He's quoted as saying, "It has taken 6 years for my original intention to come true, which was to highlight the plight of the monkeys and bring it to the world. No one had heard of these monkeys 6 years ago. They were down to the last thousands." So, and also Slater said that he may technically be the first person to be sued by a monkey.
That's true.
Oh my god.
The
Hopefully the last.
Yeah, hopefully the last. The last quote I want to leave you with is just this. This is a quote that I saw in the comment section of one of these articles that like a commenter wrote. And I
Yeah.
think it's perfect. He wrote, "I'd argue that Naruto is the most intelligent and sane part of this whole story." Yeah,
Believe it.
believe it. So, Courtney,
Okay.
what do you got for us?
So, doing a complete different, going down a different road. So I'm going to tell you guys the story about the Leatherman.
Okay. I can't wait to
I know
see.
This is already
Oh.
a Courtney story.
So some
and
of you
I'm
guys already know this.
fully
Wait, so
invested.
who does know this
Who
story?
does know this?
I do.
And Brendan,
do.
do you know it?
No, I knew the monkey story. I
Okay.
don't know about the Leatherman.
Okay.
I don't know this either, and I'm
Fascinating.
curious how this is going to relate to.
So Becky,
to
if you want to
photography.
jump in with anything, feel free to do that.
Okay.
So, so he's known as the Leatherman. People they don't know anything about him. They have no idea what his actual name is. He's just known as the Leatherman. There's speculation of a name, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Is this a historical story?
It is a historical
Okay.
story. This happened in the 1800s.
Okay.
It happened it takes place in Connecticut and New York. So there's this guy that spends his whole life, at least as well as these people know him, his whole life, walking around in a circle between Connecticut and New York. It's a 365-mile walk, and it
hell.
takes him. He gets to the places. It's 34 days long. He does this all year, every day, every single day,
just
walking
straight up
around.
Tom Hanks. He's just
I was gonna say, I think this is the original, the OG Forrest Gump.
Wow.
I just felt like running.
He was not running.
He was walking. He was walking.
But I mean, also, I have a question. I mean, are there roads that are easily accessible to navigate this circuit?
I mean, you have to think back in the
Yes.
1800s.
Yeah,
you know,
especially.
what it's just dirt roads, I guess.
Yeah.
And in terms of where he would sleep, he preferred to sleep in caves, and that's
Okay.
where he would go to sleep.
So he wasn't going full Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Because he slept and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and
Forrest
he
Gump
didn't
was
he
just-
didn't go from one end of the country to the other. He just
Yeah.
kept going in this same
Right,
circle, this
right.
same circle. The towns that he would hit,
He wasn't as ambitious as Forrest
Yeah,
Gump.
no,
he was,
no.
he was a less ambitious.
Wait.
Forrest
Forrest
Gump.
Gump did
His shoes
sleep.
weren't as nice.
He did sleep.
Yeah, he said he was like traveling for like 3 years or something.
yeah, he has to have slept.
Dude, from what I remember about that movie, the whole thing was he just didn't stop. He just kept
No,
going.
he had to sleep. He's like, no, when I slept, I slept, and when I had to go, I went.
Yeah.
You know, I
Oh,
mean,
okay,
he
okay.
said
He's not Jack Bauer,
Dude, listen,
Well, that's
Forrest Gump is
24,
capable
that's
of a
over.
lot of
He's
crazy
a
shit,
robot.
dude. I really, when I watched that movie, I must have glossed over that part because I really thought, dude ran for 3 years. He didn't stop.
He's still gonna have to. Where do you think he'd get the energy? He'd have to eat
Okay,
and everything.
do you guys remember that story that we did like a year ago about the dancing plague where people danced
Yeah.
for like 2 months
Yeah,
straight,
yeah.
nonstop, eating, sleeping, nothing? Hey, you never know, man.
That's true, but no, Forrest Gump did stop, and the Leatherman did stop.
okay.
So the reason why he's known as the Leatherman is because his entire wardrobe is made out of leather. I read in one place it was shoe.
Oof,
it was
dude.
specifically it was shoe leather.
I
Interesting.
have to say that is not comfortable walking, jogging,
Well,
clothing.
and
Like
it
the
weighed about
sh-
60 pounds.
your skin is gonna be so raw.
Yeah.
Like that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also would take time to make patches on it, so to keep he kept it up, and it weighed 60 pounds, and this would be through all sorts of weather.
So
Snow,
he is like the
heat.
Fonz of hobos. Like
Yes.
he looks like hobo Fonz.
Exactly.
Traveling the country,
Yeah.
traveling around
Fonz,
Connecticut and New
Bo
York.
Fonz.
Did you hear why he chose leather?
I did not. Do you know why?
I do.
Oh.
So, can I add?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
please.
for it.
Okay, so when he was younger, he fell in love with a girl whose father was a leather, maker. I don't know what he did, but he made maybe shoes or things with leather, and he got a job with her father, and one of his jobs was to order leather at a certain, make sure he gets it
Yeah.
for a certain price and stuff like that. Well, he places his order and then the price of leather drops. And so he ends up spending a whole bunch of money when he ordered it wrong. So he ended up
Wow.
getting outcasted from her family. Her father was angry that he wasted all this money and they would never make their money back after it. So he ended up he ended up having to leave the girl, and they did not get married, or he had to leave her because the father was so mad. But leather was like the sticking point.
Well,
I want to throw out really
Man.
quick.
Taking the leather, and that's why his suit was leather.
Dude, I want to throw out really quick. One, the whole time you were telling it, I was thinking like, dude, this sounds like a comic book backstory. And then when you got to the part about how like somebody brought in this order for this leather thing, and then it didn't work out, and then he just took the leather for himself, I was like, dude, that's basically Rorschach's backstory in The Watchmen. Like,
Oh, you're right.
dude. It's
right.
It's
Maybe
that
it's
one
based off
guy's-
of this. You never know.
Dude, the guy gets this order for leather, and he's like, oh, now, like, they didn't take the leather or whatever, like, the price of leather dropped. And then he's like, now I will wear the leather and become Leatherman. That's a comic book backstory.
Well, the only thing I have to say from what I read, yeah, I did come across that, but from what I saw, that's a myth that's been debunked. That's not the real story. I mean,
Okay,
he
okay.
still remains a mystery. So part of that, so in trying to name him, the name Jules Bourglet came up, and that's his backstory of what you just said. That he was the financial ruin of that family, and so as penance, that's why he just continued walking around in a circle all day.
I just
want to
remind you guys, by the way, that one of the most common Superman tropes is he walks the country righting wrongs. I'm not joking. That's what they do all the time in those comics.
I want you to keep all of that in mind when I get to the end,
Okay,
because it's gonna.
His name's Leatherman, right?
His name is Leatherman.
Leatherman.
Leatherman. Now that there
was it George Bourglet?
Jules.
Jules Bourglet. Google is
Leatherman. Yes. So I mean, in terms of trying to find out his origins of where he's from, he does have, he doesn't talk that much, but when he did speak very little, he had a heavy French accent. So he might have been from France, or he might be French Canadian. So they don't know. The other things that they know about him is that he carried a French language prayer book. He was Roman Catholic, and he refused meat on Fridays. So that's all that they know. It's just from people telling.
By the way, I'm really riveted in how this ties into photography. Like, I'm really wondering.
Well, it's pictures of him.
Oh, okay.
So they don't know, but so all that we know about him is from the pictures that people took, and also from how people, they got to know him. So he became so well known on his route that people actually looked forward to seeing him. And even the teachers would be like, okay, kids, if you get all your work done, you can go out and see the Leatherman.
Yeah.
You can do stuff with the Leatherman.
I really thought it was going to be one of those, like, I mean, I thought it was like the photo part is he's a wandering photographer also. No. And he's like,
that would have been cool.
Dude.
Well, that's the thing. So people would take pictures of him, but he did not like that because he was a very private person. And, and usually if somebody did take a picture of him, he just refused. He wouldn't go back to that specific area. He wouldn't do that. And the people loved him so much that they would offer him food. They tried to give him shelter, but he would always refuse it. And if people would talk to him without him approaching them, he would just kind of let it happen, and then he wouldn't go back to them ever again. He would have to initiate any contact with the people, and the most that he would either grunt in response, or if he did talk, it would be very, very little.
Was it true that he came the same time every year? So
yes.
He came on.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he also ate like a lot of food.
Yeah.
He would eat lots of food.
Yeah. And but they were preparing it. Like housewives would make sure they had extra food for him, and there was one thing I saw, I have to find it, but like if the kids they would put out pennies like on a fence or whatever, and he would come by and replace them with shiny ones. And so that's something that he would do with the kids again. So he was a recluse. He was weird.
He was mysterious and weird, but he was.
But everyone loved him.
Yeah.
So there at one point in 1888 there was a major snowfall, and so people were trying to get him to come inside, be with us, be safe, and they weren't able to. But they were able to catch him because people were concerned, and they got the authorities involved, like bring him into the hospital because he had a sore on his lip and they wanted him to be taken care of or whatever. They kept him for like a day or two. Then he's like, nah, I'm out of here. And so he left.
Got some walking to do.
Exactly.
Got to walk the earth.
But then
Connecticut.
But then a year later, he ended up dying, and they think that sore was actually a sign of cancer. Yeah. So that's, it definitely is sad. And, people were just like, okay. So they found him in a cave.
Jules Barclay died as he lived, walking.
But that's not his name. We don't know.
Listen, for purposes of this story, for me, his name's Jules Barclay, the Leatherman. And he became the Leatherman because of a broken heart and a broken order.
Maybe, yeah.
Broken order. They also people try to buy him shoes, right? And he wouldn't wear anything.
He wouldn't wear anything else, yeah.
He would rip the leather off the shoes and add that to his suit, but he would return the soles back to them.
Basically, everyone was like, "Let's be nice to him." They were vying for his attention. They would offer him anything, and he's just like, "Yeah, no, I have better things to do."
Yeah, he was Tim.
Yeah,
but he never showered, and he always wore that same leather suit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what that man smelled like.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I know. Yeah, right. It's sleeping in the caves and
smells like a Walmart.
Dude, that's it. Holy shit! We just discovered a Walmart smells like Leatherman. We were waiting for that. Now we know.
Waiting for that 360 for that joke.
Exactly.
Full circle.
Connection. All right, let me tell you guys something that's weird. Okay. So he died in 1889, and the townspeople all got together. And they buried him in the pauper section in Ossing, New York. Okay. In 2011, the Historical Society okay, we want to know more about him. Let's exhume. They wanted first.
What year is this?
This is 2011.
Oh,
2011.
Okay. This is really we jumped ahead.
We jumped ahead. So 2011, because his legend, he's still known in these areas
Dude,
that he traveled.
somewhere in the back roads of Connecticut and New York, there's small towns where they whisper like, sometimes the wind blows, you can hear the Leatherman.
They have caves named after him. They are known as Leatherman caves because that's where they believe that he slept. So in 2011, they're like, okay, we want to know more about him. So let's exhume his body, see if we can get some DNA, and see if we can try to trace him to anything, because they don't know anything about him. On his grave marker, they had the dates from when they first got to know him, which was 1858 to 1889.
I mean, the thing about that time period is it goes back to the whole Tiger Whitehead story. It's like these people did these epic things, but a lot of times people are really fudging and not sure about how old they were, where they're from, what their name is.
Exactly. I mean, we don't even know how old this guy was.
How many bears they killed, right?
99.
So they're going to do that, but also it was with the intention of moving him to a nicer spot and give him a new headstone and everything. So that was the idea. So they go to his gravesite, they exhume it.
Yeah.
No body.
No body.
What?
All there is just a few nails from the coffin. And that's it. They have no idea where.
Nails from the coffin.
Nails from the coffin.
Hey, somehow reminds me of Jesus.
Yeah.
He wasn't there.
Where's his leather suit?
Somebody should have left the leather in there, yeah.
It's gone. So what they did was they just took the nails from the coffin and they created a new grave site with a new headstone, and that's it. They just buried with that, and people actually still go to where it is now, where it's located now, and they leave pennies near it. But no one knows where he is. People like to think he's still just walking around,
wandering the earth.
Creepy.
Wandering.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's got
Part
the
of me
suit
thinks
hanging up in
maybe-
their house.
I mean,
Maybe
the problem
he had
is also
family that knew who he actually was, and they decided to keep it private.
Maybe.
And
that actually makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, like I said, he died as he lived. Yeah, and it makes sense that his body isn't even in one place.
He died as he lived.
It's everywhere.
He walked somewhere
wandering.
else.
Yeah.
Well, and Becky made a point, like, where's the leather?
Where is the leather? A part of him. A part of the man. And he smells like Walmart.
Nasty.
Man.
I actually want to tell you guys about one thing really quick before I go. It's a photo thing that I really thought was hilarious. A lot of people, look into like who was the first person ever photographed, right?
Yeah.
That was like a link that I found. That's not really that funny, so I don't want to talk about it.
Sure.
But I do want to talk about who the first person was to ever flip off a camera. Because there is, back in 1886, right, there was a baseball team. I'm trying to find out what league they're from or what area, but they were a Major League Baseball team, like an old-timey, baseball league. The pitcher was named Charles Old Hoss Radbourne, because of course he'd be named that.
Again, back then they had the best names
Yeah.
ever. Like,
The funny thing about this guy, Old Hoss, Charles Hoss, is his photo is taken in 1886. It's a photo of like the entire team, basically. I don't know what team this is, but in the photo, if you look closely though at the team photo, he's very, very conspicuously flipping off the camera. The way he's doing it is he's got his hand on, like, he's standing behind somebody. He's got his hand on somebody else's shoulder, and he's like very lightly flipping off the camera. It's so subtle you'll miss
I
it.
see it.
Dude,
That's amazing.
the best part about Charles Radbourne, though, is he's not only the first person to flip off a camera. He's the second person to flip off a camera or flip off a camera in a photo. Because in his actual, so they took like a team shot, and then later in the season they took basically like a baseball card shot of him. And in the baseball card shot, he's got his hands on his hips, standing like triumphantly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And his left hand is flipping off the camera. He's that guy.
maybe his hand was just stuck in that position. He couldn't control the finger.
Broke his finger.
It is the same. It is the
See?
same hand.
Maybe-
Oh, I got the name of the team he was playing
what
for.
team was it? What team
It was
was it?
called the Boston Bean Eaters.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
That's a team?
That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes, way back when.
Dude, old-timey
The Bean
names.
Eaters?
Yeah, the Bean
Yeah.
Eaters.
The Bean Eaters.
Old-timey names are the best. They're just the best.
Those have got to be the new hipster names. We got to bring those names back.
We'll bring it back. That'll
Well,
be a mission.
we are at the end of our show. So, Ken, do you have shout out, promotion?
Keep downloading the show, please. We've had a nice spike in
we did.
downloads this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully we could continue that. If you could rate some of our stuff, great. Or just
definitely we'd appreciate some iTunes ratings. So
Yep.
we would get on
Or
iTunes
Google Play.
radar.
Google Play rate us.
Any comment you want to tell us, anything you want to
Tell me how terrible I am.
We love that. We love being told how terrible
Or
we
tweet
are.
it at us. We have a Twitter.
Yeah.
At Ryan and Noosh are dead. Or it's Ryan and Noosh, actually.
Yeah, our Twitter's Ryan and Noosh.
Ryan and Noosh.
The Gmail, you can email us to
by the way,
ryanandnoosharedead@gmail.com.
One of the things that we should start doing on our Tumblr, our new Tumblr, and our Twitter is we should make it open for people to reach out to us and ask questions
public.
that we can answer. Well, we should tell them, ask me anything. Ryan and Noosh.
All right, we'll
and
send some more
Courtney
tweets out.
and Ken. Courtney, do you have anything you want to promote or shout out?
Nope.
Or okay. JB, promotion? Okay. Brendan does not.
Do you speak for him legally?
I mean, I guess I have to now.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Are
his
you
next
a friend of
I'm
the-
his next friend, yeah. Becky, go ahead and promote anything you'd like.
Yeah, so check out my show. Kelly's co-host on that show, Midlife Dating Crisis. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio. I don't know, tune in. And then just so I can get feed on my personal business page, you can check me out at RebeccaLassiterPhotography.com.
Cool. And for the show, how would they be able to find you? Like your Facebook is like facebook.com/midlife dating crisis?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Facebook.com/midlife dating crisis.
Okay. So yeah, go there to check out episodes and contact the hosts and everything. And yeah, check out their show. As for me, I got nothing. I mean, I really
got nothing.
You know what I will mention?
got nothing.
You know what I will mention? I will throw this, because I'm always promoting the whole like, hey, anybody who's listening, if you got a job for Noosh, you should hire Noosh. I actually got some tips from one of my mentors this week. So now I've got some direction in
that's good.
Networking and trying to keep looking for a job. So I'm hoping that
So
works
everyone
out
keep
for
your
me.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed for me.
This
And,
is your job. This radio show.
Dude, the
is
amount
life.
of work I do to promote this show, edit, and all it is work, dude. Dude, I booked so many people in the coming weeks that it took so much effort to book people. It's this show is my job, man. It is.
Now we just need to get paid for it.
Yeah, we need to get paid.
Right.
We need to get paid for this job. That'll be great.
So guys, listeners, thanks for tuning in and listening to our show. Thank you to our guest, Becky Lassiter, for being on today. And
Thank you.
you're welcome back anytime. I hope I was gonna say I hope I can be on your show, but I honestly realize I would have very little to contribute because my dating life is garbage. So
You need to go on a few dates.
Yeah, Ken has plenty. Ken has a nightmare that he's going to write a book about.
Yes, if you wanted one of us as your guest,
Yeah.
Ken would probably be your best
Yeah.
friend.
It's a disaster. It's
We'll
like a
set that up. I have to hear
disaster.
it.
so thanks for being on, and we'll be back next week, guys. The song that we will be ending on for today's episode is Overworld by Kubi. Thanks, guys, for being on, and we will talk to you guys next week. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ryan and Noosh Are Dead is made possible thanks to KDHR, the student-operated radio station of California State University, Dominguez Hills. For more information about KDHR, please visit www.kdhr.net. The intro song for this show is Space Ace by Blind. The intermission songs are Brambles in the Breeze by Protricity, Lost in Time by Your Daily Water and Expert Novice, and Radical Dreamers Angelic Mix by Tim Shihai. This music is made available thanks to Overclocked Remix. For more information, please visit ocremix.org.